When we launched the Damascus Project Network, we envisioned a gathering place where people who were engaged in all kinds of ministry could come together to support and encourage one another as we navigate the changes taking place all around us. We imagined people joining together across time and space to develop leadership skills and deepen spiritual practice within sacred learning communities so that we could all be transformed in our faith and better equipped to provide excellent faith-based leadership. This vision is the foundation upon which both the free and the paid portions of the Damascus Project Network are built. Today, we are launching a feature for the free portion of the Damascus Project Network that we are calling Damascus Project Network Scholars. Damascus Project Network Scholars are people like you and me with something valuable to share that will help us grow in faith and be better equipped to lead in our ministry contexts. Damascus Project Network Scholars will help us discover the joy of working together as people of faith, engaged in ministries of all kinds. They will help us to build skills, get better at serving God, our neighbors, and our world, and create a space where we can share our own experiences, be vulnerable, and navigate challenges as we learn together. Each scholar will be with us for 1 month. During that time, they will share resources, insights, and ideas on an area of ministry in their expertise. They will also engage with you and help you engage with one another so that we can all learn together. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to our first Damascus Project Network scholar, Reverend Andrew Warner. Hi, Andrew.
Hi,
Welcome.
Tisha.
Let me tell you all a little bit about Andrew. Andrew served as the pastor at Plymouth United Church of Christ in Milwaukee for over 20 years. Over a year ago, he transitioned from that role and now works part-time for the National United Church of Christ and part-time in the Wisconsin Conference. In these new roles, Andrew focuses on equipping congregations and leaders to be more generous, to improve their stewardship efforts, and to talk about money, budgets, and church finances with greater ease. So we're so excited, Andrew, to have you as our first Damascus Project Network scholar. Thank you. You're actually the one who helped develop this idea. So thank you for that, and
Sure.
also for agreeing to be a part of this, this first experiment with this idea. So Andrew, you've had some changes in ministry recently and in your sense of call. Could you just tell us a little bit about those changes?
Sure. I really appreciate a definition of call or vocation that I think comes from Henry Nouwen, although it may not, and I could just be completely attributing it to the wrong author. But this idea that our sense of, that our calling or our vocation is that place where our deepest passions and the world's greatest needs intersect. And for a long time, I found that place combining between my gifts and my passions and what the world needed and what the church needed. I found that in local parish ministry. But as I grew as a pastor and as I developed as a leader, I found that I had some particular gifts around fundraising, and that was a little bit of a unique gift set. And so I needed a different kind of call. And I felt called to this role of helping pastors and church leaders think about how it is that they raise money for projects that matter and that make a difference and that make the world a better place.
So cool. And we're so glad. That's a rare skill set in ministry and a real rare skill set in the church. And it's really valuable. And I've seen you do some amazing work with that. So I'm really glad that you've been following that area of expertise, you know, that sense of call that emerged for you while you were at Plymouth. So tell us a little bit about what you're going to be sharing with us this month as our first Damascus Project Network scholar.
I think one of the things I most like people to know about fundraising is that it's really a spiritual practice. And so over the next month, I'll share some ideas that I think speak to fundraising and stewardship really as a spiritual practice that we might approach like prayer or Bible study or justice work, and to really reclaim this as part of part of our ministry and really part of our calling as disciples, and not to think of it as something that we do out of necessity, but something we do out of faithfulness.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So helping us kind of think about how we do that, maybe, well, I mean, I don't know, will you include like things in our own personal lives as well as practices within our churches, or how will you?
Well, I haven't done all my homework yet, so we'll see.
All
But
right.
I do think I want to share some things that have been formative for me as I think about how I deal with money in my own life, and the kind of choices that I make and what's been shaping me, and leaders in the wider church who I find inspiring for how they're engaging in philanthropy, and then some practical pieces around what it means to talk and to claim fundraising as a spiritual practice.
Yeah, and we are kind of entering into the fall, which is often the time when churches are getting ready to think about their pledge campaigns. And so I would imagine. I also think one of the things when you and I were talking about this before that I appreciated, you said some of what you share might be shaped by how people engage with you and some
Yeah.
of the questions that come up. So so what do you hope that people will be gaining from your sharing, and how do you see them engaging with you and with one another?
Well, I hope that people will be responsive and to whatever questions I raise or whatever observations I share, and that they'll come back with their own ideas and push back with what they disagree with, and extend what connects with them, and so that it will be not a monologue, but really dialogical.
Yeah. I think that's one of the great opportunities that we have here. And as we're kind of all learning how to build community in this online space, now that being physically together is so much more challenging, we're developing new habits for how do we engage with one another in this space that's so different from what we're used to. And so I think it'll be fun for all of us, hopefully, to put ourselves out there a little bit and maybe ask some questions, maybe be a little bit vulnerable, share what's been working for us in our contexts, that kind of thing. I think could be a really rich way of engaging with one another.
I think too, also to claim the opportunity if we were just doing something in person, um, you really only have that moment to ask your question. And all of us have had that sense of driving home and thinking, "Oh my gosh, why didn't I ask, or why didn't I say?" And for those of us who want to think about something before we respond, I think this medium is going to really give an opportunity for that kind of engagement and reflection, so that you can share those thoughts that come to you, half a day, a week later. You can
Mhm.
still enter in the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And everything that happens is going to be right there,
Mm.
for people to go back to too, for when maybe they need it later. Well, Andrew, thank you so much. I hope that gives people a little taste. We're going to start next week with your first little tidbits. So I think you all can start looking for stuff appearing in your activity feeds from Andrew that is related to stewardship and generosity as a spiritual practice. And I, for one, am really looking forward to engaging and seeing what you have to offer. Well, thank you, Andrew, for agreeing to be the launcher of this idea. And I just look forward to engaging with you and with everyone else in the network. And we'll see you all next week.
That's it.